challenge you. Well, it's talking time right here on the University of Liberia radio. Today is May week. It's actually Wednesday, the 26th day of the month of April 2023. And I said to you earlier today that the political leader of the Liberian People Party, that's the LPP, Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, will be seated in our studio since moving this way for the first time. And true to his word, he's seated in our studio. Councillor Gongloe, it's my pleasure. Good morning and you're welcome. Check that microphone for me quickly, if it is on, that microphone. Okay, this should be, yes. Okay, go ahead. Thank you, Councillor. We are honored to have you seated with us in our studio. At least I have the first presidential aspirant in my studio for today. By the way, Councillor Gongloe, you want to a little bit introduce yourself? I want to give you that honor. Okay. Mm. Mm. You want to tell us why that resignation? Because many.
Or reluctance to fight the same things that brought war in this country, bad governance, especially corruption,
Mm.
that involved many of our close friends and family members. And she was not prepared to fight. And I saw myself becoming a co-conspirator in what led to state failure.
Mm.
And when she took one other action that I thought was arbitrary, I said, well, my cup is now filled.
Mm.
I resigned.
So you resigned purposely because there were corruption in government?
Yes. Yes. We discussed it many times.
Mm-hmm.
And the decision to send all cabinet ministers home for 2 weeks was meant to shield corrupt people in government. Because she said, those whom I won't call back into government will not be in
my government.
my government anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the underlying factor was that those who were now called back were corrupt, and she didn't want to be direct because of the close relationship they had. You don't fight corruption through the back door. You get direct about it. You fire people. You punish them to serve as a deterrence.
Mm-hmm.
You don't find an easier way out. You don't soft land people. It doesn't teach anything.
You didn't expect that from her.
No, because she was called Iron Lady from a distance. We believe her to be an Iron Lady,
Mm-hmm.
but in my close relationship with her, because yes, as Solicitor General, as Minister of Labor, I could see her anytime. And she herself told me, when she was reviewing the ministers, she forgot about me. And I called, I said, but I'm one of the ministers, why I'm not reviewing. One day she said, I forgot about you because we review people based on poor performance in terms of the PRS performance
Mm-hmm.
and those who have their hands in the cookie jar will have suspicion. But I hear you are the first to go to Ministry of Labor, the last to leave, and your PRS report is good, and your hair is not in the cookie jar. So when I call people here, I review the ministers and they review me. And she asked me, "You have any? I don't have anything to review you on. Do you have anything to review me?" I said, "I have a lot to review you on."
You said that to her?
Yes.
Okay.
In the interest of Liberia, I'm never afraid. I'm not disrespectful, but I defend Liberia all of the time and do so consistent with my conscience.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I said to her, I said, you two things. There are too many corrupt people in your government, and you're not dealing with them. You dealt with Swasi Genesis and the assistant minister of postal affairs for allegedly selling power to people in the neighborhood. But there are people down Waterside who know the big corrupt people in your government that you're not touching. And she said to me, "Oh, next week I'll deal with one the Liberian people will see." That was the week following. She actually fired the late Ambula Johnson, her cousin. But then I told her the other part about you. I didn't need to know as minister what action you would take next week. You should surprise people. It's this surprise element that 2 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the evening, you just hear your name dismissed. Because if you let people know they are going to be fired, they might take their last eating. Or people may start undermining it. So when you announce on the radio, as you used to do, I'm going to reshuffle my government soon. I said that's wrong to do so. Because when you do that, you undermine your own government. People might want to take more. Some people in the ministry will start disrespecting their bosses and say, I hear that they may also be removed. Or business people or people in other governments might not deal with your ministers because they might have the impression that they will soon be removed. So they will slow down. She said, you're right, but but I mean, I could speak. I cannot work with anybody I can speak frankly to. And I learned that from Dr. Sawyer when I was much younger. There used to be time when the whole cabinet would decide. I was like 32, 33. And then when we were going in his office, I said, Doc, you criticize President Doe for that same thing that the cabinet wants you to do, and you agree to do. You criticize President Tupper for that. He said, Tiawan, you really have an elephant brain. I did that when I gave it the exam. He said, but I will not do it again. I will not do it. I will not take the action. People in presidency, people have to have people around them who can look in their faces and not care about losing job and say, this is wrong, Mr. President. So that's what made Dr. Sawyer and myself very close. He explained that to one Reverend Nebo 4 years ago. Reverend Nebo called me a few months ago, in fact, when Dr. Sawyer passed, and say, Dr. Sawyer said, you help him to be a good president because you could look in your face, you're a younger man, and tell him this is wrong. It was wrong on October, it was wrong on Doe. It cannot be right.
You didn't get that from Madam Sally, though?
No. I didn't get that from her. I mean, she didn't have the same political culture that Dr. Sawyer had. Dr. Sawyer was a political scientist and was a change agent. They were the one that founded Moja and were promoting freedom of expression and tolerance of opposing view. So he could take it, But that didn't stop me from speaking frankly to President Sirleaf. And that is why I was just telling one journalist there would be no issue of freedom of expression under President Gongloe because I have been fighting for freedom of expression. I've been defending most journalists in this country. Almost every media institution has been defended by me one way or the other, either at the police station or at the court. And I'm not going to provide any reason for that because, you see, democracy must be based on dissent. Dissent is an essential part. People may dissent based on ignorance, but as dissent anyway, you have an opportunity to counter what people say. We have to build a free society. A peaceful society must be based on tolerance of views. Somebody can say Councillor Gongloe, three persons can say Councillor Gongloe is a handsome man. And 1,000 people have a right to say he's the ugliest man I've ever seen in the world when I'm president. And those two different views, diametrically opposed views, have equal right of protection in the democratic society.
One fellow said that to me the other day. He said the only thing I really admire about Councillor Gongloe, he's very tolerant. He tolerates everybody's view. So I just love him for that. But for now, he has to wait. I said, wait for why? He said, well, let me leave it there. I don't know why he said he should wait.
But an example of that is that, the Bekuba Avenue, the Veteran Bureau.
Yeah.
I've stopped there more than 5 times. I stopped there.
In the midst of
I've gone to Bekuba Avenue,
the Veterans Bureau.
I am the only presidential aspirant that I've gone there many times, sat with them and talked. And they say, oh, you say, I want to like what Papa, you mean you come here? I go there. And now I've been invited to go there on Sunday at 4 o'clock to speak to them.
What do you say to them? There. Because the guys are fixed with their mind.
No. They are changing. You see, I appear on radio station now, because what I do, I speak the truth. So they used to call and say, let Councillor Gongloe wait until 2029. I talk to them personally and all of that. I appeared on 50 2 days ago.
Yeah, I followed that.
No question for any sedition. I appeared on radio yesterday, Truth, breakfast show with O'Neill Roberts. No question for any sedition. It's becoming that way because I speak the truth, I educate them. It's about the country, it's not about me. And they're getting to know. I will call this person name on the radio. One time, Kadiatu Finley, and there's a good reason, that's why I'll call her name. She saw me at Temple of Justice. It might have been 2012 or 2013. And I said, oh, Mrs. Finley, and she said, she stopped me, I have to talk to you and confess. I said, what's the confession? She said, I used to hate you, Honor President Taylor, because the way you used to attack President Taylor, you were the #1 president, whole day attacking Taylor. But then you campaigned for President Saleh. And the way I see you speaking against President Saleh, even calling for resignation, attacking her on nepotism and different things, I now believe that you do not hate any president, but you only love Liberia more. And for Liberia, you are prepared to speak out. So I was looking for an opportunity to make this confession to you. And from today, you are my friend. And she's my friend. I do the same thing to seditions. I have so many young seditions now supporting my campaign because they can't imagine when some of them act so in a very disrespectful manner. They use all kinds of words that should not be used against me as a fatherly figure because many of them are like in their 20s and 30s and 40s. And I still have the tolerance to take the view that Jesus Christ took on the cross. Lord, forgive them for they know not what they are doing. So, and most times I succeed. The current chairman of the youth wing of LPP used to sell at the corner, he still sells at the corner of Mecklin and Ashmont Street. He and I used to disagree in 2017 about the election of George Weah. And even after that, today, he is not a sedition. My constant engagement of this young man made him, even before I declared, I accepted a petition to be on my side. And today, his level of commitment in LPP is unimaginable.
And let's go right to your quest to become president. When did the desire come?
In my life, I've always done what is right and prepared to do anything in my life. I didn't expect to be Solicitor General of Liberia. I didn't even expect to work with President of Liberia. I did not expect to be Minister of Labor. I wanted to be a university professor. I admired Dr. Tipote because 1974 he delivered a speech at the VDC graduation at the open door in Yekepa. And I saw this man, those days to hear PhD like somebody from heaven, dressed in a simple way and wearing African slippers and standing up there and speaking. All I wanted to be was to get PhD in economics and teach at the University of Liberia. That was my whole intention, of my desire. Then I said, when I get my PhD, then I'll come back and go to law school. Because one lawyer cheated my family in Bonka and my people. The man was hired in Monrovia to deal with land matter against the clan chief in the area. And when he got to the place, he looked at the clan chief, gave him money during the night.
Gave him land as well.
In the morning, I was young. I was like maybe 12 years old. I remember we went on a big palaver hut. The clan chief lawyer there, I want a lawyer to talk. He came and told my uncle, who was in SSS, and I was his friend, he said, Sam, I really can't talk for you because I forgot my license in Monrovia. Nobody attacked him. And everybody knew that overnight the clan chief had seen him. Because nobody objected to him appearing, but he himself said he can't appear because he forgot his license in Monrovia. I said, one day I'll be a lawyer. My people land is being taken away because this man, So that's all I wanted to be. And those are professions to teach and to become a lawyer.
Okay.
And then, but I guess when you do good, without intention, people can call you to duty. So I've been called to duty. In my whole life, I never applied for any job. Yeah. I was working at the vice president for academic affairs at the University of Liberia at that time. Jim Tapia had a meeting with a group of students, and I spoke. And a few days later, he saw me and said, can you work in my office as a student assistant for $50 a month? I was living in the dormitory. I was happy to get extra. So I worked there. And then when I graduated, he said, you need to go to the economics department to be teaching assistant so you can get scholarship to go abroad, as part of our staff development. Then I was transferred. I was in America in 1990. Dr. Sawyer called me to come and help him, restore peace in Liberia. I was at Columbia University running the newsletter at the Human Rights Center because I was going to do human rights advocacy course. And everybody from the 11 countries I came went back home, but I couldn't come back to Liberia because of the war.
Wow.
So I stayed there. I was finding a way. And then I had scholarship opportunity. I had opportunity to bring my family to America. He called me and said, come and let's go to Liberia because I've been in exile 4 years. I'm in Sierra Leone. Come, let's go to Liberia to bring peace. And I told everybody in New York, they say, you crazy, don't go to Liberia. I said, but how will I answer my conscience tomorrow when my conscience asks me, when people ask me, why did you come to Liberia at a critical time to bring peace to your country? And I say, oh, because I have personal opportunities, then I'll be putting my personal interest before national interest. I say, I'm going. I came to Liberia and I almost got killed. I came in 5 days in September. I left America September 18, September 19, I was in Freetown. September 20, we went to Bito Money Hotel. So I said, I want some volunteers to go to Monrovia to see how Monrovia looking. I volunteered. I want 5 volunteers, me, John Stewart, Dr. Leva Zanga, Nathaniel Bear.
All progressive.
Yes,
Days, yeah.
Nathaniel Bear and Jim Fomoya. We came to Monrovia. And I always say, when I got to Monrovia, I started thinking whether I was in America dreaming that I was in Monrovia or I was actually in Monrovia. I look at my body, because we arrived at the Freeport and there were dead bodies lying, rotting dead bodies, dogs eating. And it hit me straight. I said, if they killed me here, everybody would say you should have known better because he was in America. What did you go to do in Liberia? I took that risk. Well, I'm here alive today.
Okay.
So I'd never put anything above my country. All through my life, I've subordinated my own interest to community interest or to national interest.
Okay.
And so that's what
I
guess at this point, people needed, look, we need someone to change the direction of this country. All my friends, some of them sitting right here in the studio like, you have to do it. You have to do it.
Okay.
So it was like a call from Dr. Saye, you have to do it. And I've been speaking and saying Liberia is in the ICU. They said, well, you keep saying Liberia is in the ICU. It means there's a critical need. You got to get out of it. And then when my friends talked to me and they said, you are the best prepared, they actually said, one group voice, Mel and all that, they said they got together and they put a group of names and said, let's start looking at them one by one. And in the end, they chose, they said, this is the number one. I
You.
don't want to call the other name, but
Okay.
that's what they said at the petitioning ceremony. They said, it has so many names of people with integrity, and you came number one. So we are petitioning you to accept.
Okay.
And I said, Albert Einstein said, the world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them do evil without doing anything.
Mm.
And I said, our country is in a critical state based on ignorance and greed. People don't know what to do in the different offices, especially the top leadership. And then there's this greed. With our president building 47-story building in the first 8 months, everybody started following and thinking that money will never finish. So now, with our low level of productivity and export capacity, we are short on US dollars. And look at the government in power. The ruling party is now dumping Liberian dollars on the market everywhere in the country, $9 million to the smaller counties and $15 million to NIMBA and $20 million to marketers and different groups. The exchange rate is going up. Before the end of next week, the exchange rate will be 170. Week after next, prices will start going up because the importers have to get US dollar to keep importing. They will shift the burden of the high exchange rate to the consumers through raising the prices so they can have enough money to buy US dollars. As an economist, I could never do that.
Okay.
I did economics at the University of Liberia. I taught economics for 8 years. In my thinking, I could never do that because the negative effect, we will see demonstrations soon. We'll see all kinds of protest action because of the harsh conditions of life.
But this is election year, though.
This is election year. But this economically bad policy that is being implemented by the ruling party is going to have tremendous negative impact on the poorest of the country. And poverty, if people are poor, they cannot provide food for themselves. What do we say? A hungry man is an angry man.
Okay.
And when you have so many angry people in society, you do not expect peace and normality. And that is what is going to happen. The other thing is that, we risk more sanctions because, and I'm calling upon the United States government right on this radio to be fair. You sanction Senator Prince Johnson for pay for play, for vote selling. You sanction Honorable McGill for vote buying, pay for play. Pay for play is happening. This dumping of money all over the country is to encourage people to vote for them. That's pay for play. The people should be sanctioned too.
Who are those to be sanctioned
the
now?
president, the vice president, the leadership of the CDC. They are doing this.
Okay.
So pay for play that too. So and when you sanction people, it will have adverse
A
effect.
certain president, vice president, one then
They should be
sanctioned.
sanctioned because they're involved in pay for play. I'm not mincing words. 300,000 people die in this country for bad governance. And we owe it to them. Their bodies are wriggling in the grave. We owe it to them to be truthful to ourselves, to our country, to speak truth to power, irrespective of what the risk is. I never considered the risk. That's why I honored Taylor. I was speaking truth to power. I knew I could be killed. I didn't consider the risk. I consider the importance of what I was doing, the value of what I was doing to my country. And that's why I'm speaking truth to power now.
Okay. With the state of the country, from the way you speak, is in ICU. But yeah, you want to be president of Liberia. Is it possible?
It is possible.
Okay.
It is possible. And we need to do it now because the people who put the country in the ICU have no capacity to rescue the country, to revive the country from the ICU. It has to be someone else. And someone who has been in government and has a track record of not taking the country to ICU. I have challenged for many times on the radio and say, I challenge all Liberians from Cape Town to Cape Palmas to say when Councillor Gongloe was in government engaged in corruption one day. So only somebody with that track record, and I do not condone corruption because working in government for 5 years, I said no, I cannot continue in the president's first term. And anyone who condone corruption, like some of my colleagues who stay in the government for 12 years, are not qualified to revive the country from ICU.
How will you refer to corruption? Because your former leader, President Saleh, gave it three names: systemic, vampire, and at the end of the day, she said she was not successful in fighting corruption and reconciling Liberia. For you, corruption would be what? In fact, you call it public enemy number one and all of those kind of names. She just giving names. At the end of the day, she didn't succeed in curbing corruption in Liberia.
I am not interested in calling corruption by name. Corruption is corruption. And everybody knows the definition. What I'm interested in is the strategy to combat corruption.
Okay. And how?
I have developed a 12-count prescription for combating corruption that begins with openness of the financial capacities of those who serve us. Before I take my oath of office as president, when I win, I don't say if because I know I'll win, will be declared and they will be published on the internet, in the newspaper, leading newspapers, and read in simple English on all radio stations.
Okay.
I will require that of anyone that I appoint in government. First, you have to submit your asset declaration to me. I have to publish them before I send you to the Senate. The next thing I will do is the salary and benefits of the president. And in the leading Liberian newspaper, government will pay the newspaper to publish them. They will be read on every radio station in simple English. People will open their phone and see president's salary and benefits and minister's salary and benefits. That is one major way of fighting corruption because it provides an opportunity for the citizens to monitor the behavior of people who work in government when it comes to integrity. Because if I appoint you as minister and your salary is not even $40,000 a year, when in 2 months, the people in your community start seeing you build 5-story buildings, a 5-story building that is valued $300,000, without even checking, they will immediately get on the radio and say, the minister is stealing. They will get on the radio and say, this minister is stealing. So, and then I will hear, they say, the man is not making even $40,000 a whole year. He just been minister 2 months. Look at him building a $300,000 house. That naming and shaming is the first, weapon against corruption. Because everybody wants good name. So everybody is calling your name on the radio. It will make some people afraid to steal. But as president, that takes me to the third strategy. As president, when I hear that, I will call you and say, is it true that you building house in our community? My security board will have checked it. You say, yes, but you are fired. And I will turn you over to the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission for full investigation and prosecution. And then when you are found guilty, you'll go to jail for 5 to 10 years. And all of the properties acquired, including the money in the bank, will be confiscated from you through a legal process. More than that, the fourth thing I will do is that every 3 months, I have it in my prescription, quarterly lifestyle audit. Even without people talking, as president, I will submit myself to lifestyle audit from the GAC auditors. And all ministers will submit themselves to lifestyle audit. The report will be published.
And is that government you'll be running?
Yes, that is government.
Okay.
Our people can say, Baso needs bad medicine, very strong medicine. We need medicine, a Jolopo type in government.
You want angels in government? Is that what you're looking for?
We want to. Government is a place to serve, not to steal.
Okay.
So we have to move that stealing part from government so that Liberia can progress. Let me tell you, This stealing, it doesn't only undermine development in terms of lack of money. It is because of the possibility of stealing and getting rich fast in government that our lives are insecure. All the bojo business and hardman business is perpetrated by people who want to get top government jobs, who want to in the legislature everywhere, and they don't go to they don't find any scientific need.
That's the executive side of
So
it.
so then they go straight to some medicine man. Somebody says, "Can I go? One medicine man can help you." Say, "Bring me human being heart, you become minister. Bring me human being album, you become managing director. Bring me this, bring me that, you'll be." And so people lives are insecure. You go, I've been to 13 countries all over the country. Everybody say they can't send their wives alone on the road to the farm anymore. When I was growing up in Maryland, going to Maryland public school, I was 7 years old. My mom used to say, when you come from the from school, come on the farm, your food will be on the farm. And I alone used to work on the farm. And when I explained that in Nigeria, they said, I don't want to up here. What? You were saying your little child alone on the road, some motorcyclists who have been paid will come pick up that child, and the next thing the child is dead. So that's how bad our
These are
country is.
bad
And it's
things.
connected to corruption.
Okay.
But when we sweep corruption out of government in the way I'm talking about it, only people who want to serve will go to government because there will be no profit in killing human beings. Nobody wants to kill human beings.
That's just one side of the government that you are going to be responsible for. What happened in the other two?
The executive branch of government
Yeah.
is very powerful in every country. And the example of its power is what we saw under President Trump in the United States. With a strong system, the president of the United States shook that system. And I can tell you, people follow the direction. Don't you see people in all branches of the government right now wearing what they call purple suit? People follow their president, especially in smaller countries. We will prescribe, we submit laws to the government, to the legislature, consistent with what we are saying. Yeah. And then we use NSA less for political intelligence, but more for economic intelligence to check on people in the three branches of the government. Because if you are a justice or a judge and you commit such offense, felony, you can be impeached. And as a lawyer president, of course, we'll be impeaching people. And by the time one or two persons are impeached, everybody will.
Now, the political activities in Liberia, I don't know how far you and the LPP are right now. We don't know your running mate. We don't know your team and all of that. We haven't heard about campaign people. What's happening?
I will announce my campaign team very soon. I've already, I don't want your station to be the first to say, but there's a campaign team right around the corner. But let me say this.
But you don't have a running mate.
We will name our running mate within the scope of the law, the time provided by law. All right? We are moving methodically. We set up a committee. The committee have prescribed the criteria for selection. I've approved it. So the next team is the person whom the cap fits will soon be announced.
Collaboration and all of that. Are you up to that?
I'm happy you asked that question. We have to be practical. First, I'm not an independent candidate. I'm a candidate on a party ticket. That party has representative hopefuls. It has senatorial hopefuls. So, there's something about horse trading when you're arranging to collaborate or to form alliance. 2-3 years ago, you start discussing, okay, I have an incumbent senator in this country. Say, for example, going to collaboration with Unity Party. It has so many representatives and senators who are up for election. In collaboration, LPP will not put a candidate bid against that person. The LPP will have to put a candidate in another county in which this collaborating party does not have an incumbent. And then the collaborating party, Unity Party, for example, will say, okay, but then we will support you in that other county where you don't have a senatorial candidate.
That's the way it should really be.
That's how it should be. So it's not just two. Then in Nimba, where you have 9 districts, you put the district plan that one party can take it. Okay, so we will fee 5 candidates and you with few 4 candidates or with few, and then you decide, okay, so we'll tell our partisans to support your candidates in these areas. All of that. So it's a whole package. Then after that, you discuss, okay, so we in collaboration, how are we going to form government?
Okay.
Then you discuss now the executive, the ministries and agencies and the public corporations and all of that. It's all discussed and agreed upon before. If you don't agree on that, and then you say, oh, only president and vice president, as many people in the public think, then whoever wants to be president or vice president on that team is betraying his own people. You are selfish because you're only caring for yourself.
Okay.
Because the whole package has to be, and the question is, do we have the time for that now? The flights have left the airport. Some are going to Ghana, some are going this or different directions now.
So meaning
the way
no possibility now?
The way I'm sitting here, Baka might be in Bombing Hills or somewhere else. Cummings might be, like you were in River said the other day. Everybody is out doing outreach program. We do not have that time to sit now. And our party members are in the war room. They're strategizing. Everybody is thinking about how to win and strategizing how to win because we are just less than 200 days from an election. So everybody is strategizing now. Do we have that time to agree and disagree and be shouting? No. You know, what's the strength of your party? No, our party is the ruling, has been in power before. We are bigger than you.
Councillor Gongloe, you don't see the possibility?
I don't see it practically possible right now.
You were in approach anywhere along the line since you made a pronouncement by any of the political?
I didn't go to be approached. I heard that some people want to get to me, but I can say that we have not had that discussion. I've not actually met with any political leader of any political party.
Maybe due to your solo move, you just been going around your Zimbabwe the other day. I heard about that.
Well, you know,
I just left from there when I went
there. I'm the underdog. I'm the newcomer.
Who said that to you?
I consider myself an underdog.
Okay.
I just came in a race. In fact, some consider me when the two other political leaders, you know, that are considered front runner speak, they don't mention my name. So that is evidence of the fact that it doesn't matter. So I have to work hard with the ordinary people, and I know that we don't have qualitative votes, we have quantity.
Okay.
We don't have one vote that will. All of us here are entitled to one vote each. And some people believe that because they have votes in 2017, that their votes are somewhere in a safe. They only need to add some more to win. I have no votes for 2017.
Oh, okay.
So I'm working hard. I'm working hard. And you know, and I think that, you know, I'm working out on the life-changing situation because, you know, I'm not looking for a job. Other people are looking for a job. I want to be a project manager for changing Liberia's story for the better.
Okay. So the issue of a collaboration, which you just ruled it out now, opposition, unity, all of that, would you forget about it? Is that what you say?
It is not going to work right now. I'm telling you.
When is it going to work?
Maybe the next generation of politicians. Because, look, I've been in this kind of situation since 1985. I was on Jackson Doe's campaign.
Okay.
Jackson Doe and Kessley were in three-party government. And they were all three partisans. They were going against Doe. The only person who was not part of them was Gabriel Cllr, the poor teacher. You were not a politician. You think Jackson Doe and the Lab and United Party could not have come together? Especially people who were in the same party before. And they were all overthrown and jailed by the military. It didn't happen. 1997, there was an attempt. I was on the Election Commission and Alliance Convention at the Hotel Africa. Everybody pleaded. It didn't happen. We are at a point where, just I'm saying, no respect for me. The people who feel they voted before don't consider me a factor, right? So in a situation where,
But in your own side, you think you are a fighter?
oh yes, I strongly believe I'm a factor.
Okay.
Because I have not been in electoral politics, but nobody can say I've not been in politics because I've been an advocate going to jail at the age of 22 at the University of Liberia for Liberia, speaking about the fundamental issues in Liberia of freedom of speech and assembly. I've been to jail. I suffer under Taylor. So my name has been associated with political activities. I have not been in electoral politics.
Okay.
But those who have been in electoral politics, who and their only claim to fame is that they have stood up to be voted for, don't consider activists like me to be a factor because they say you cannot show your strength because you are not going to election before for people to know your strength. Fine. But I say to them, and that's what makes us different when people talk. I say, any journalist, anybody in this country can predict Councillor Gongloe because they know what I stand for. The other people, I don't know, even me as a politician, I don't know what the other people stand for. Okay. So I cannot predict them because they are the people they call establishment politicians. They just go, what is the establishment, they follow the pattern. All that bigotry, the siren, the big show, they follow it.
Okay.
That's why I've said, for example, and you will never hear any of the contender. I've said this thing I'm saying, that the president's salary must be made and benefit must be made public. We have not heard it from, and up to now, I've not heard it from any of the contenders in government or outside government. Okay. And the people who are our employers need to know how much we make and what our benefits are. Because you see, for example, right now, there's something more scandalous. And I said it on the radio yesterday. Can you imagine Liberia, a begging nation that even beg other African countries, has a speaker that makes $245,000 a year, and the speaker of the U.S. Congress makes $223,000 a year, more than $15,000 a part. Then the president pro tem of Liberia makes $254,000. The president pro tem of the U.S. Senate makes $193,000. This is scandalous. And, if the American citizens know that we are wasting money like that, they will be hard on their lawmakers to approve any aid to Liberia.
But they know it now because the ambassador has been speaking to
So what they are doing is dangerous. And I want to affirm everything. I want to support everything the American ambassador said, because it is only the American ambassador and I who have been all over the country. Getting cars stuck. Our cars stuck in the mud between, I don't know what part of the country it come from, but between Kilipo Kanweke and Gbopo Kanweke, which is normally 30 minutes. I left a program at 5 p.m. in Kilipo Kanweke to go to Gbopo Kanweke, which is 30 minutes, and I got stuck on the road. I reached Gbopo Kanweke 1 a.m. in the morning when everybody was sleeping.
I'll be taking a few calls in the meantime.
So that's the condition.
Councillor Gongloe, if we are to change this CDC-led government, what are the reasons for which we change this government?
So that's the reason. Let me give you the life-changing situation I want to talk about.
Let me take this caller. Good morning.
Good morning. Morning, Mr. Temi. My name is Jimmy Jolala. I call you from my resident.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, just want to appreciate Mr. Temi. I've been following
Mr. Temi Webley, this is you can call us at something else. Call us on 0776-561-202, 0776-561-202 is that number you call and you will participate live here. Councillor Tiawan Gongloe is seated with me on the University of Liberia radio, talking tough talk here this morning. Yes.
So I have a 10-point agenda for better Liberia.
Okay.
I'd like to talk about 4 main ones. Of course, the number 1 is rule of law. Number 2, combating corruption. But there are 4 life-changing things that I'd like to talk about. Look, all reports, where I have report, Ministry of Health own reports show that Liberia, pregnant women die so much in Liberia. Children die. The infant mortality rate is very high. And old people die. So when I become president, pregnant women, children under the age of 5, and Liberians 65 years old will not pay 1 cent in any government hospital or clinic. That's one life-changing situation. So that our people, our pregnant women, all the people can live. The next one is education. Under my government, every child in Liberia will have access to education. No child will be left behind. Every child from kindergarten to 12th grade will have copybooks, pencils, pens, textbooks, free food, and there will be no fee from any parent for a child to go to any government school in Liberia so that our children can go to school. Then we'll have free trade schools in the 15 countries.
You got the money for that?
In a country, there's so much money here. Let me tell you, in a country where we are paying speaker and president pro tem higher than the president pro tem and speaker in the United States, we will redirect the money. Yeah? We'll redirect the money that goes to the legislature and all of that. We'll redirect the money and we'll have enough money. Then we eliminate illiteracy in 2 years by paying stipend to junior high students, high school students, and college students to teach at least 10 illiterate people in their communities every day after school. And I strongly believe in 2 years we can eliminate illiteracy. I'm an adult literacy teacher. I was trained by the government library in 1981 in Ethiopia. And from my training and from my teaching at Loma Community School and all those in the 80s, I realized that adults can be more motivated to learn. They want to learn everything one day than even young people. So when the young people are teaching people who are left behind, the government is giving them free opportunity to learn. Many of them in 6 months will know how to write their name, and they will know 1, 2, 3 to 10, so that they can be able to use the phone, put number in the phone, and read their text messages. Because the whole world now is operated by phone. But if you can't read and write, you cannot operate a phone. So I want to remove that impediment. And then we want to mechanize agriculture so that we can, I want to change Liberia's story from being a rice importer to being a rice exporter. I strongly believe, I talk to agriculture, that Liberia has the capacity to do so. Because you go check, all the garden you plant behind your house, you've been planting from the past 5, 6 years, you don't use fertilizer. And every year you get good yield from your garden. So our soil is so fertile that growing rice here, if we aid the farmers by mechanizing farming, and my plan is to buy all the machines and distribute them among the farmers in the 15 countries through the established farmers cooperative. And we'll be having big farm like Firestone, Salah, Rubber. If we have big farm like that, there will be enough rice in this country. And only machines have the capacity to do that kind of farming. The last thing I want to do is the road of the 4 major things. Look, when I was growing up, and I don't know whether you saw it, but there were public works yards in all of the counties. And the machines were used during dry season to rehabilitate the road that were destroyed during the rainy season, lay the gutters so that during the rainy season, when it rains, the roads are well drained. The roads were not paved, but they were passable, and people were moving without hindrance.
You're going back to that?
Today, I want to go back to that. Because the thing that working.
You don't want to pave them now? You should be talking about paving now.
Paving is going to take the next 50 years. Every mile to pave, 1 mile is $1 million. All right. So while we are doing the other things, it's going to take the next 50 years for Liberian government to pave all the roads in Liberia. And let me tell you, I live in America. Now all the roads in America are paved. All right. So why? But they are maintained. So look, I like to always refer to this. 1979, when I was a junior student at the University of Liberia, the university was closed after April 14. And I was president of the Catholic movement called YCS. So I went to Kipamas, to Maryland, to work with the YCS members at Fatima. One of them was Abacha in the 11th grade at that time. And Topo, who just died, here from St. Francis. And when I finished my work, I took taxi. You can't find taxi in southeastern Liberia right now. No. I took taxi from Kepama 6 o'clock in the morning. By 9 o'clock the same day I was in Monrovia. It does not happen these days.
No.
It takes a minimum of 1 week. Even you taking motorbike, to come to Monrovia these days. So I want to change that. We'll put public where they are. Even if now in all the country, we'll create like 4 big hubs to maintain the roads. It's good for our economy because people want to move their farm goods to the market. Today, if you're a farmer, you got a planting farm in Webo or Boajiken or Sediken in Maryland, and then you say,
I'm familiar with all these places.
oh yeah, or Jogbo
Okay.
in Grand Cru or Sasa in the president's home,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or Kaloke where I slept the other day, and you say you go to a businessman and say, give me money to charter one truck to carry my planting to Monrovia. I will pay your money next week. You get the money from that man. You come and your truck reaches between Kilipo Kanwege and Bobo Kanwege, and you get stuck there for 10 days. Your planting get rotting. You're going back to that
You're
man.
gonna be indebted.
When you go there, you say, you know my plan. He said, that's my business,
Come.
and not government. Pay. So, by road, instead of improving lives in a rural area, increases poverty. So this government is multiplying poverty by not fixing the bad roads.
Finally, all of the troubles of Liberia is on the head of you, the progressive. You caused president to die for the first time here in Liberia. So the struggle of the country has just been like that. And they said, you, the progressives, are the one responsible for that. Quickly on that.
You know, President Toba said one time that,
and they say you are good to all of you.
Listen to me. He said, we have 3 enemies in Liberia, and the enemies are still here.
Okay.
He said, ignorance, poverty, and disease. And he said, among the 3 enemies, the worst enemy of Liberia is ignorance. People engage, they just say something without information. In 1980, one of the progressive movement part established a political party in January because President Toba had announced that in 1983, he would not want to stay in power, and True Party should work hard because he will not stay in power. So, March 1980, Moja met and passed a resolution to establish a political party preparing for election. We want an election, not coup d'etat. So the coup d'etat really destroyed our plan. We were not responsible for the coup. We wanted to compete for power because at the University of Liberia, we are beating the three-party protege called ASAP. We defeated ASAP for 5 years, and ASAP was run by the children of those who were in power. And we and SUP was established by students from Nimba, Grand Jide, Bong, and Lofa, with some students from other counties. But these were the main people that founded SUP in 1970. As can be seen historically by the fact that the chairman of SUP, first chairman of SUP was from Nimba, Marcus G.S. Dolo. And the first tenant bearer of SUP was from Lofa, Frederick Goba Wally. And when they formed their party, there was a party called SDP that had been going. The first year SUP was established, it defeated SDP. After 5 years, again, SDP were the children of the three partisans outside. SDP dissolved. Then they changed and formed ASAP. And after 5 years, ASAP again dissolved. So we are already, and we now are coming to the society. We have developed and knew how to beat three party, petty three party, and we felt we were going to beat three party in 1983. We were so enthusiastic about it. This coup d'etat was not the making of the progressive.
So the progressive cannot be blamed for the troubles of Liberia.
The progressive wanted election and not coup d'etat.
Thank God you've provided that clarity because that's how it's been all along. But Councillor Gongloe, perhaps you got a parting comment. We're going to leave it over there.
You see, nobody is asking questions.
Yeah, the people
These
just...
days when I'm getting on the radio, I challenge Sedition to be asking me questions so I can talk more. But I think they have a strategy that they're thinking that every time you ask them, you can talk more.
Hello?
Like that.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, you following the show?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead quickly now because the man said nobody got a question for him.
Okay, I'm Victor Q. Moses calling from District 4, Maserado County.
Yeah.
Actually, I really appreciate the Councilor ECU for the education and the message that he giving to the Liberian people.
Yeah.
He is the only first and the presidential aspirant that have educated the people all over the country in Liberia.
Okay.
Yeah, I really appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much. I got no question for you.
Oh,
So
okay.
that is it. That I'm winning from the underdog to top dog. I will get to top dog. Listen, you cannot solve a problem you don't know. I'm challenging all those who want to be president. I'm setting a new standard.
Okay.
Go to the people that you want to lead, see the condition under which they are living, experience the condition. I can tell you, when I talk about Bonkande now, I can tell you I slept in Fokole, I slept in Sanoye, I've been to Benikole, I've been to Kokoya, in the Bodota, all the area in Kokoya. I've been to Yula, I've been to Zowenta, in Bonkande. Then I can tell you
because you want the people power.
I can tell you about Wangeko in Cape Mount, Nagbela, where I slept. In fact, there's a child in Nagbela now named Tiawan.
Okay.
I can tell you about different areas. I can.
When you become president, you do that
I will
again?
go to those areas.
Okay.
I can tell you about Herentine in Guapolo, Supplemata in Guapolo.
That's my town over there.
Supplemata?
Supplemata is my town.
Oh, Chief Mawolo, listen to me if you are listening, because you and your wife took very good care of us.
That's my
in
town you talk about.
Wow,
Supplemata is where I come from.
Then I went to supermarket,
Okay.
and then, I went to bar in Bombing County. I can tell you about Pine Town in Sino County and Drazon. Yes. I can tell you, I slept in Samuel Doe Town, a 2-zone. It's important for a Nima politician to sleep there symbolically, because it brings reconciliation, strengthens reconciliation, it strengthens unity.
Okay.
They
still have some impasse there between Nigeria and Nimen?
Well, we should not forget that during the war, some bad things happened and it divided it. The ordinary people are coming together, but it's important for whatever is happening among the ordinary people, for key figures in the two countries to strengthen it.
Okay.
So I did that. I slept in Bakedu, that's a Mandingo town. The Giwa Manapo also has some.
And the thing, you don't carry security with you. You don't have people.
Look, people are the security. Your good relationship with people, constitute.
That thing you used to do in Central Monrovia as Solicitor General, you get moved around.
I'm still doing it.
And you go anywhere.
I'm still doing it. I walk the street.
But when you become president, the security people will not allow you to do that.
Let me tell you.
They will not allow you to do that, honestly speaking.
No. President Salif demonstrating University Library students. And she told it, but she's the president. She said, stop the car. I said, oh, Madam President. She got out from the car and talked to the students and said, y'all give 5 students to go upstairs with me. Let me hear you. And she solved the problem and they left the street.
There you go. They want, let me take the one.
Yeah, take it.
He said nobody calling. Hello?
Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, quickly.
Yeah, this is Richard Greer. I'm calling from Bartonville.
Yeah?
Yes, I want to ask the counselor a question. So I want for the counselor to educate me on how this free education should come about. Thank you.
I wish we had the time.
I think Richard has a rhetorical question, because you actually answered the question. It means there's no free education going on right now. That's what he means.
Oh.
And because you cannot pronounce free education and then parents are paying fees, as he's saying.
Okay.
In Guinea next to, university students are given stipend. I mean, people encourage their citizens to like education by reducing any constraints that exist. So we will do that. We'll make education interesting in this country, by example. So let me tell you, the people who left plenty security when the president are ignorant, because all over Africa, no civilian has ever killed any president before. All presidents have been killed or overthrown by their trusted bodyguards, soldiers. Look at next door Guinea, Conte. The man, he went to France and got to come and say, he said, you are a member of the French Legion. I want you to come to Guinea to establish an elite force to protect me. And the man used to be holding an umbrella over here, and not the man that removed him from power. So those who are afraid of civilians, even President George Weah, I see he got 2 convoys. I can be laughing at him. I said, but the people who could harm you know exactly which car you're in. security pool. So what you doing that one for? You just wasting money.
Mm.
We don't know which car you enter in. When you leave your house, they know which one you enter in.
So
That is,
the enemy could be right within.
they are always within.
Okay. So just in case you wanted to make another input, you can call quickly. Just two more calls we take because time is we read it over time. But we have a very interesting guest, somebody who speaks to the
So
nation.
while they are trying to call, let me show my knowledge of the country.
Okay,
I
quickly.
slept in Putu Tiawan Town, Grand Jeddah.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Babla Town. I think Richard Gray, who calls from Babla Town. Babla Town is off the main road, but 30 minutes drive from the main road.
Mm.
Between, I passed there during this dry season. Even during the dry season, between Gointa and Zaita, there were mud and about 5 trucks were stuck in the mud. We had to pass another way. You know, I stepped in Dwake, that's Dr. Gibley's town. I stepped in Dwake, River G County.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Jakaken.
The incoming, right?
Yeah, I went to Jakaken.
Okay.
Jakaken is the home of journalist Gerald Weir and journalist James Botti.
Okay.
Jakaken. I went there. I went to Philadelphia, Grand Crew. Sidiken in Maryland, that's the oldest Grebo settlement in the history of Liberia. That's where the Grebo settled in Maryland before they went to Harper. I went to Fishtown because the elders of Fishtown and Rocktown were meeting in Fishtown. I went there. Yeah. So all the towns then I went to Riverside. I can tell you about Bojozie town. I can tell you about different what the other town? Logan Town. I can tell you about I can tell you about Pakwai Town. Pakwai Town is important. Pakwai Town is the home of the current president's mother, the late Ma Annie.
Okay.
And he has never been there. So I got that one over here. Every time I appear on the radio, I say, Mr. President, I'm calling upon you to develop the courage. Get a motorized boat, go to Pakwai Town, let Ma Annie people see you and feel good emotionally that their daughter born somebody who is president today. When I
Wow. You're not if you become president, it seems as though Morovia, you're not gonna really be sitting down in this.
The clinic, no medicine, as you were saying, go down the road. The schools, you're not believing the level of wickedness. Schools, including high school, all over the country, volunteer teaching, no teaching. One of the things the government did, without preparation, is they retire all the death pension, all of the work repair teachers.
Yeah.
So the schools are empty right now. And the volunteer teachers are going in, they're not worrying about getting a volunteer. Or the child can get this common, the mother night and now with the find job they leave. So there's not real education or children. I know that. So, and I also said,
Councilor, go now.
okay, that when I become president, the government hospital will be best in the country.
JFK is still having major problem, bro.
When you go there, they can tell you the prescription.
You know about that too?
I would change that story. And the way I would change it is when I become president, I'll pay surprise visits to all the government hospitals. Each hospital I go to or clinic before I go there, I will let the finance minister put something there everywhere before I start the visit. So I will know now that the government has dispersed money for equipment and for drugs in the hospital. So when I come there for a full checkup in Bogeza, for example, in Lofa County, and you tell me, Mr. President, we can help you, I will dismiss the head of the clinic and tell you what the police to account for the thing that government put there. Next day, I go to Zina Lomai, and then up the hill, and then in Lofa, and then you say, I dismiss you. I go to Foya. From there, I go to Bakazidi. Only people who want to serve will come. Rogues will not be in my government because government is a place to serve, not to steal. There are more good people in Liberia than bad people, and we'll take the good ones to work with us. Thank you. Right. I will always come back.